Hello, let's talk about music. Welcome to part 2 of V4. I couldn't think for a second. But yeah, we're going into our next part of our Vocaloid history. We are talking about Vocaloid V4, and this is the generation where I sadly had to depart from the community. Not for any particular reason, I didn't fall out of love with Vocaloid, it wasn't something that caught my attention anymore. Like I mentioned in the last part, this would be a generation that incorporated a lot of different unique aspects to Vocaloid, and it would be a very saturated generation just like V3. Which I suggest you should go check out on my page. Just a suggestion. If you want to know about Vocaloid, which I highly suggest that you do want to know about. I'm sorry, it's late and I want to go to bed. But I'm going to give my spiel. If you don't know what Vocaloid is, it is an instrument. It is a software that allows you to use voice banks to make music. Why is my brain... But yes, it's an instrument that helps you produce music with just like voices that are supplied by Yamaha. In other media sources, not only Yamaha makes Vocaloid, but yeah, so let's get into V4 part 2. Now, our next Vocaloid in this series would be Luca V4, and she would be the most popular out of the V4 voice banks. Definitely when she debuted in the V3 generation, but this section of Vocaloid would be her skyrocket. She wouldn't take Miku's seat, she definitely would not, but she definitely was one of the higher performing voice banks in this series of Vocaloid. Like noted in my last video, she would be one of the first voice banks to have a English and a Japanese voice bank upon release. But in this generation, she received a couple more voice banks, and they'd be hard, soft, and I think those two, but like in a different form, so an EVAC form, which would be, if I don't know what EVAC is, it's the Enhanced Voice Expression Control, which is just adds different inflections to each, thing. So it could add like growling or a whisper tone to it, or like a breathier tone to it. So it was just more like an emotion-based system in Vocaloid 4. Girl. Oh, I'm just slow. Sorry. Now, this would be her different voice banks in songs. I don't know if copyright's a thing. I'm not gonna go into this shit. Hopefully you could tell the tones that are different in the EVAC. It just sounded a little bit more intense. That makes sense. To the next one. Our first man of V4 would be Vocaloid, or Gakupo. Now, this wasn't really like a planned release. Generally, what it was the company that owns Gakupo, which is, I believe, hold on. But yeah, his company would push for all the Vocaloids in their care to be upgraded to V4. So essentially, Gakupo would just be updated with the system, and this would be his V4 form. It's not really anything too different, actually, but it would add 2 more voice banks, which are called native and I believe hard, and you'd also have a whisper voice bank. It was also like kind of touching in the whole evax thing too. I don't know why I was doing this hand motion. I'm sorry. But yeah, this would be the next generation of Gakupo. Next vocal would be Pt.2 Mickey, which is an update for her, kind of similar to Gakupo. They're not owned by the same company, I don't believe, but they would just kind of be pushing for the Vocaloids to be upgraded with the Vocaloid system. Then again, I still don't have much to say about Mickey. She's not one of my favorite Vocaloids. She could compete with Hatsune Miku, but she definitely doesn't top Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku would forever hold her throne. She's not going to be dethroned by another Vocaloid, you know? But she was on the same level, or if that's a little bit less, as popularity as Miku. Yeah. I am so sorry that is not her voice. Sorry for technical difficulties. I did not mean to press that girl's voice. Our next vocal would be Nekomura Iroha. I had to think on that one for a second. My brain is going dead. And of course, Nekomura Iroha is one of my favorite Vocaloids. She has a very like tomboyish type of tone, and she is actually a Hello Kitty inspired Vocaloid. But this would be her evolution in the V4, and this would actually debut different art for her, and this would be her definitive adult sound and her definitive, I guess, kid sound. I don't know what really it is, but this would be like her growing up, essentially. Also, side note, I believe her voice provider would be, this would be the last recording they would ever do, because I believe they would transition, and this would be like the last work they would ever do for Iroha, because their voice would be changing. Alright, next Vocaloid would be a Vocaloid named V-Flower. Now, V-Flower, it has actually quite a lot of love in the community. She is an androgynous Vocaloid, and she debuted in Vocaloid V3, and this would come and improve her Vocaloid, her voice bank, I'm sorry, and also would redesign her entirely. She would be fitting more of a boy-like look, and this was a very vast departure from her debut image, which was more feminine looking. She's one of my favorite Vocaloids because she has a very just like not girly tone to her, but you can still tell that there's femininity into her, and I appreciate her sound because she is not like the everyday girl. She is a tomboy, if anything. She has a very metallic sounding voice, so it makes its own, it stands out amongst the other voice banks, you know? Also, she was the one I kind of showed off earlier. Alright, that's another part completed. This was my part 2 to the Vocaloid V4 series. We're going to jump back into the next part in V4, which will be my part 3. Numbers, you know how a number. But hopefully you stick around with this little series on my Vocaloid history, whatever jib jab shit. Alright, thank you. See you in the next one.